I'm David Thaler. Welcome to Stage 5 of Collective Bargaining and Mediation, Reaching Agreement. The stage we're referring to as Reaching Agreement is the main purpose of collective bargaining. It encompasses the entirety of the process from the time the parties make their proposals until they agree on all terms. There are several ways for the parties to reach agreement. For example, they might make extreme demands and move little by little toward one another's positions. Or they might build packages that reflect links and trade-offs between items in negotiation. Or they may suddenly leap to agreement with dramatic moves made when a strike deadline is staring them in the face. No matter how parties reach agreement, it's important for the mediator to always respect the ethical principle of self-determination, meaning that the parties should have the freedom to reach agreement in their own unique way, one that reflects the relationship between them, the substance of the discussion, and the dynamics of the moment. In guiding the parties toward agreement, sometimes they'll tell you their bottom lines. The mediator should note those supposed bottom lines and convey them as the parties wish, but should always conceive of the bottom lines as just another position that may or may not be that party's last one. Things change quickly in the march toward agreement. Parties have their own strategic, psychological, and political needs that they must meet, and it's not for the mediator to be critical of changes to the party's bottom lines. Many times the mediator is better off not even knowing the party's bottom lines. As the mediator guides the parties toward agreement, it's often helpful to visit their priorities. What is of deeper interest to each side? Where is their flexibility? What trade-offs are possible? At the end of the day, knowing what is truly important to parties provides the basis for developing multiple creative solutions to satisfy their needs as much as possible. The march toward agreement is often the time to start engaging in reality testing. That is, asking parties how realistic it is that their demand will be satisfied by the other side, and what are their realistic alternatives to accepting what is being offered to them. But be careful. If the mediator explores this question too early in the negotiation, before the parties are psychologically ready to do so, it is likely to provoke a defensive reaction and even a backlash against the mediator. For these reasons, it's better to wait until later in the negotiation, when there's more pressure to agree, to conduct reality testing. As agreement gets closer, mediators tend to make greater use of sidebars, or separate meetings with just the two committee heads. Use of sidebars allows the mediator to explore possible solutions with the parties in an atmosphere that is free from the emotions of the committee rooms, allowing the committee heads to have all the benefits of communication directly with one another, in a less pressurized and more candid fashion. Now let's visit with mediator Martin Callahan as he works with the Union Committee in a separate caucus as it contemplates its next move toward agreement.
Hello again, everybody.
Hi.
I thank you for your patience. I know it's been a while, but I've been sitting with management for most of this time, and I can tell you that in response to the issues that you've raised about the safety issues, the masks, and the discipline, they're willing to work with you on a safety committee. As far as the production quotas go, they are absolutely adamant that there can be no change to those quotas. And I have to be honest with you, there's strong resistance to anything increasing the bonus or wages at this point.
Well, if that's how they feel, we're not moving either.
I want you all to think about this stuff. You know, as far as the production standards are concerned, they're never going to go for that. They are not going to lower those production quotas at all. At all.
All right,
Never going to work.
Marty, you see.
But they haven't come up with any money.
Yeah. So Marty, you see. Those quotas are high, those bonuses are low, and this is very important to this bargaining committee.
So,
And the safety equipment and that discipline has to be dealt with. Safety committees can be good, but that discipline has
they
to be
have
dealt
agreed to
with.
deal with discipline within the safety committee, so I think we're okay there. I know that you guys are aware that they have their largest client that is requiring those production quotas. And they absolutely have to have those to keep that client. That's really critical. And the other issue on the wages is that's been historically 2.5% here. I think that that's what your members may be expecting more, but that's what it's been. And are they willing to do any further action if it's not 5%? Those are some of the things I want you to think about. And you're in line with industry standards on the wages and the bonuses. So
We are. We
the
are.
quotas. So I just ask you to think about those things.
Hey, look, I just thought about something. Since they're so keen on these production quotas, why don't we think about keeping the quotas, but getting them to pony up something in terms of a bonus for us? Some sort of bonus. What do you think? They can keep the production quota.
Let's see what they put on the table. Because right now, you're not telling us anything other than they're gonna give us a safety committee.
All right, so let's think about what Denise is saying. If we can get them to come up on the bonus, can you all consider coming down on the 5%?
Think about it.
And we get them to deal with discipline through the safety committee.
Okay, let's see what they're doing.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so if we can keep the productivity
I wanna see
quota
it.
where it is, okay? Ask for them for an increase in the bonus, and you guys are willing to come down a little bit on wages? Can I take back to them?
We'll have to talk with the committee and see where they're at, but I think we're a lot closer.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much. I appreciate the movement and the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Make sure they know, they gotta come up with more money.
Timing of the mediator's intervention is very important. It's only when management and labor are ready to settle and to let go of what they're holding on to that a settlement's going to be reached. Has nothing to do with whether the mediator's ready, even if the mediator realistically believes that they know what the settlement's going to be based on their discussions with both sides. If the mediator pushes too soon, it could be counterproductive. Let me tell you an example of a situation I was involved in. I was mediating negotiations where the parties were on strike, and they were on strike now for about 3 weeks. It was a first contract. The employer was actually almost ready to file for bankruptcy, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and the union is still trying to push to try to gain some more in these negotiations. And at that time, I had a conversation with the union that I typically have towards the end of negotiations in any situation, whether it's a strike or prior to a settlement without a strike. And I asked the union, number one, first, take an inventory of what they've been able to achieve. And then second, what were their goals? What were they still holding out for? Did they believe they were going to be able to achieve it? How long was it going to take? And would it be worth it in the end? And as a result of that discussion, there was a settlement that evening. Right after that, the lawyer said to me for the union that they were talking about that for weeks. And he was trying to get the union to agree. And my response was they weren't ready. They weren't ready to listen. And that was the reason why. So had I had that conversation too early in the negotiations or at the beginning of the strike, it would have been counterproductive because the union, in that particular case, probably would have perceived or probably thought that I was being too forceful and might have been biased for one side or the other. So the timing is critical, and it's only going to happen when the parties are ready.
First of all, thank you both for stepping out with me. I really appreciate it. The reason I asked you to step out with me is because I have a sense from talking to both teams that there's a path forward to an agreement here. And I just want to explore that a little bit. So Vanessa, I think I heard from your team that you're adamant about the production quotas, but that you may have some room on those quota bonuses.
That's correct.
Okay. And Dana, where do you think your team is on?
Marty, when you left us, you asked us to talk, and the committee had a conversation to see where we're close and what we can do. And we do realize how important those quotas are to management. We do. But the team is adamant that they have to have more wages, at least 3%, and that production bonus has got to double. And that's where they are.
That's a long haul. I'll have to go back, sharpen some pencils, talk to my finance rep, LP, and let's see what we can do. But we're good on those quotas. Got to make sure those quotas stay in place.
I'll confirm with my committee to make sure and get with you, but I think that's where they are.
Let's see what we can do, Mr. Mediator.
I appreciate that. I realize you both have to go back and confer with your committees. But if this works, we're going to have to get together on the record and get this thing signed and delivered. Okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you both.